morning, everybody. Welcome to the news you missed. Today is Tuesday, the 16th of September, 2025. Well, we've had more information come in over the Charlie Kirk assassination. We've had more information come in over drones over Ukraine. And dare I say it, Poland, Romania, and anywhere else you might find a bit of foam with a propeller stuck to it. So I'm joined by my wonderful co host, Warren Thornton. Hello, Warren. How are you?
I am absolutely fine. Hello, everybody, and hello, Paul.
Wow, let's jump into our first story of the day. The FBI says DNA evidence directly links 22-year-old Tyler Robinson to the killing of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Director Kash Patel confirmed that DNA found on a towel wrapped around the rifle used in the attack matches Robinson's, along with DNA on a screwdriver recovered at the scene. Investigators also uncovered forensic evidence of a note Robinson allegedly wrote before the shooting, declaring his intent to target Kirk. Robinson, who turned himself in after a relative recognised him, is expected to be formally charged this week.
Absolutely. And our hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to the family of Charlie Kirk. It's only just happened. And of course, there are many times when we talk about this sort of thing. And of course, it's still very raw for those people. Something that is very raw at the moment is the UK with everything that's gone on. Viktor Orban has now come out and weighed in on illegal immigrations. He's said 10 years, a decade. This is how long we've been protecting our country and Europe from illegal immigration. 10 years ago, we introduced the legal border closure in Brussels. The table was slapped hard and threatened in the Western capitals. They were stamped. But we Hungarians persisted. We closed the southern border and said that only those who we allow can enter Hungarian land. What happened in 10 years? Public safety in Berlin, Stockholm, Vienna, Paris, and migrant gangs kept people in fear. Explosions, car attacks, and murders have become commonplace. 100,000 people, a lot more than that, protested against migration in London the other day. The British have had enough. They want to take their country back. Meanwhile, Hungary has become one of the safest countries in Europe. We can never be satisfied, but fact is facts. Crimes against life and property are at an all-time low. The number of illegal immigrants is zero. He goes on to say how bad a job that the European Union are doing. This man needs to be applauded, doesn't he, for keeping his country safe, Paul?
100% Warren. He is a true hero of his country. And I can tell you right now, the rest of Europe needs heroes like himself. He's done something. Illegal immigration is at zero. Oh my God, who would have thought? Because everyone's talking about stopping it. No one is. And dare I say it, and I'm going to put my neck on the line here. This is all done to destabilise countries on purpose. They can bring in martial law, they can bring in digital IDs, they can rule us with an iron boot. And that is fact. And I tell you right now, Hungary, Viktor Orban, well done. We are learning from you. My next story. Turning Point USA is booming with 37,000 applications now submitted to start new chapters across the country. The Conservative Student Organisation says it has awoken a sleeping giant, signalling a major surge in youth political activism nationwide. And I'll tell you right now, the Liberals, the Deep State, whatever you want to call them, they are shaking in their boots. Because when we all start talking and we stop hurling abuse at each other, that is when we come to agreements, we come to understandings, we actually can talk things through rationally and suss out who the lunatics are in the meantime.
Yes, absolutely. And there's no more so than in the schools and the colleges of various Western countries, including America. There are many teachers in Florida today waking up without a job because of their, should we say, their idiotic stance and the fact that they had to let their activism get over the top of teaching children. And I think that there are many, many Americans now and many in the UK who are waking up to the fact that this was always going to happen sooner or later because of those people who are teaching this sort of ideology in schools. And now it's coming home to bite us. And I think the people are waking up, Paul, and saying we've had enough.
Oh, I couldn't agree more, Warren. And I know I've said this a few times now. That march on Saturday was the sleeping giant, the sleeping lion of the UK waking up and saying enough is enough. We are
It
going
was.
back to common sense.
Yes, absolutely. Somebody who's not going back to common sense is Ursula von der Leyen, the much beleaguered and under fire and under pressure leader of the EU. She is talking about blocking visas now for people from Italy, Spain, anyone like that who dares to visit Russia. Given that Hungary and Russia, here's a really weird thing, Paul Brooker, that Russia and Iran, who are meant to be two of the worst countries in the world, have Jews, Muslims, and everybody living side by side. But they are Russians and Iranians first. This woman doesn't care about individual countries or sovereignty. She cares about her power base in the EU.
Yep. A truly, truly mafia in itself. Europe is a failed experiment. It has destroyed more economies than it has helped. No more so than the UK economy. And you can just take a look. Our fishing fleets are destroyed. We've given up territorial waters. You name it. England, UK is ruined because of Europe. And I'm sorry, all they want is World War III. Prove me wrong, because I can tell you now, these mysterious drones that have appeared over Poland, Romania, which make no sense to any normal person, is them trying to escalate us to World War III.
Yeah, no question.
My next story, a dramatic standoff in Madrid yesterday shut down part of the city's busy Gran Via. A 40-year-old man, covered in blood, barricaded himself inside a third-floor apartment and threatened to blow up the building with butane gas canisters. Police sealed off the area, closed the nearby metro station and sent in negotiators. After hours of disruption, the suspect was safely detained and taken into custody. Authorities later confirmed he has a history of mental illness.
What a surprise. We are talking, Paul was saying, warmongers prove him wrong. I'm going to prove him right. The British are now in charge of the fights going on in Ukraine. It was officially handed over by America to Britain to steer the ship when it comes to the European conflict with Russia. Even though there are sanctions coming, Britain is now in charge. And one of the people who came flying to the fore, wanting to very much put his country on the map, is Alexander Stubb of Finland. Now, this guy is an incredibly dangerous guy. He is Europe's answer for me to Marco Rubio. Now, he clashed with Boris Johnson when they met. Boris Johnson pretty much accusing the Finns of cowardice for not sending troops to the front line. But all the while, of course, the UK, Boris Johnson, when he had the chance, didn't send any either. This once again is two people basically having a row over which way to escalate rather than de-escalate, Paul Brook.
Oh, shocking, isn't it, Warren? It's all coming out now. The warmongers, the ones who want to destroy Europe, the world, it's all being exposed. My next story, Conor McGregor has announced he's withdrawing from Ireland's presidential race. In a statement on social media, the former MMA star said the decision came after careful reflection with his family. McGregor had hoped to secure enough nominations to appear on the ballot in October, but criticised what he called Ireland's outdated constitution, claiming it blocks non-establishment candidates. He thanked supporters and vowed this was not the end, but the beginning of his political journey.
Yeah, absolutely. And he is right. Of course, they make it more and more difficult for anybody to run. Somebody who is making life really difficult is Marco Rubio. Him and Netanyahu stood side by side. Have a listen to this.
On your question, these things that people are doing and these different countries are doing at the United Nations, first of all, they're largely being done because of their own domestic politics. Second of all, they're largely symbolic. They have really no impact whatsoever in bringing us any closer to a Palestinian state. The only impact they actually have is it makes Hamas feel more emboldened. It makes other elements like Hamas feel more emboldened. It actually has made it harder. It's actually served as an impediment to peace. In the past, we have seen when these statements have come out, maybe there's a negotiation going on. Maybe you think you've actually made some progress on getting some hostages released or an end to the war. And then these things come out, and all of a sudden these groups back off. In many cases, walk away. Hamas has walked away from agreements that they actually had tacitly agreed to. But then they see the sort of international support they've.
Now, there's Rubio lying through his teeth there, because what he did was he said there was a tacit agreement. They went there to discuss the next stage in that agreement. They didn't turn up to the building. And of course, it was hitting Qatar. It is quite staggering. Marco Rubio is probably the most dangerous man out there. And I'm hoping that Trump might see that and get rid of him from his administration, as he has done with Keith Kellogg, who is now trying to cause more war in Ukraine.
Well, we know Trump is good at exposing people in his own ranks. And, well, Rubio's definitely showing his colours. I'm going to throw in a bit of a wild story now. In Paris, a fried chicken giveaway turned into chaos over the weekend. Influencer Fares Salvatore promoted the opening of a new Krusty Sabadi restaurant, drawing nearly 3,000 people to Chalet Les Halles. What was meant to be a fun back-to-school event quickly spiraled out of control, with stampedes, fights and clashes with police. Riot officers used tear gas to disperse the crowds, and several arrests were made. The restaurant later apologised, saying the turnout far exceeded expectations. The numbers reported are 3,000 people turned up to a fried chicken giveaway.
Sounds like every man and his dog wanted to be there by the sound of it. There is a problem that we have with the Venezuelans, because we are getting closer and closer to, shall we say, a war. Now, there's a bit of a problem here. Strikes by the US military will no doubt absolutely cripple Venezuela should they do. But they do have to be careful about a land, should we say, trying to land or overthrow the government. Literally the whole of Venezuela is being mobilized here. And they seem to be behind Maduro, but we will wonder if that will hold out once the bombs stop dropping. But America can't really put boots on the ground there. That will turn into another Vietnam if they do so, Paul.
Well, let's wait and see. Hopefully, steadier minds will prevail. My last story of the day. The UK government has announced plans to build a national biosecurity centre in Harlow, Essex, aiming to bolster pandemic preparedness. With an investment of £1 billion, where they found that from, I don't know. The centre will consolidate research currently spread across UK health security agency sites and is expected to be operational by 2033. The facility will be Europe's largest of its kind, creating approximately 1,600 jobs and enhancing the UK's ability to respond swiftly to emerging health threats. Warren, this is screaming bad news all over it, and money laundering, but, well, who knows?
Yes, it is, because they're looking for the next thing, haven't they? They've tried monkeypox, they've tried, you name it, they've tried 500,000 things to try and get the next pandemic going up. And you're absolutely right. It's got money laundering all over it and lockdowns all over it. Something else as well, when you're traveling, that is going to put you in danger. So do be aware when you are going to countries that have wild dogs.
I did an interview with Dr. Faulkner, our homeopathic vet, a couple of days ago, and he said that that will be released in a couple of weeks. And he was talking about a new rabies vaccine called Rabies-NXT, which stands for Rabies Next. And it's a self-amplifying RNA vaccine for rabies for dogs. And he said the problem with it, all the side effects are exactly what you would see in a dog that has rabies. They've gone from tepid and mild to aggressive to biting to salivating to angry and all the different things that happen with rabies. And I said, well, if that's an saRNA vaccine, that means it will continue to replicate and make the imprint of rabies. Is that going to be spread to humans? I mean, if your dog licks you, licks you, your dog's always wanting to lick you, lick your hand, your face, and all these other things. Is rabies going to be spread to humans? He said, nobody knows. Nobody's really looked at that. I said, oh, that's just great.
There we are.
Well, Warren, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny is a wonderful lady. I've interviewed her myself. And if she's saying this, I would definitely take it at face value. I mean, they've given up on humans, so what are they going for next? The pets that can't speak up for themselves. And I'm sorry, but a dog can't tell you if it's not feeling right after a jab. And
No.
the fact that the side effects are the same as rabies, how many vets out there are going to turn around and say, oh, well, I'm glad we jabbed him because look, he's just got rabies. I mean,
Yeah.
this is scary. And the human transmission side of it is even more scary. That's
Paul,
something. Yeah.
I was unlucky enough to see somebody with rabies when I was serving in the military. It is unbelievably horrible. He died within 48 hours. We were standing guard actually at the door. And to see a human, how can I put it, terrified of a bowl of water is quite something. And to see him, he basically became an animal at the towards the end. And if this is true, then when you are going to countries, and I live in one personally, where there are dogs that run loose, and of course, you now have to be unbelievably careful, Paul Brooker.
Very much so, Warren. Very much so. And I'd just like to end the show with a speech that JD Vance did yesterday. And it's powerful stuff. He stood in on Charlie Kirk's show. And what he had to say was quite pivotal and quite monumental. So as soon as we finish this, there will be a video clip at the end of it where JD Vance is speaking. So all I can say is thank you all for joining us on this wonderful Tuesday where the world is waking up, the sleeping lions are waking up, and enough's enough. And for all of you out there who still have questions, head over to charlieward.com, sign up for the Insiders Club, join us live every Wednesday and Saturday, where you can ask the questions that you are too scared to ask on mainstream media because you'll get cancelled, and to hear the answers that are too hot for mainstream media. So all that's left for me to say is thank you all for watching. Take care, God bless, and see you all soon. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
There is no unity with people who scream at children over their parents' politics. There is no unity with someone who lies about what Charlie Kirk said in order to excuse his murder. There is no unity with someone who harasses an innocent family the day after the father of that family lost a dear friend. There is no unity with the people who celebrate Charlie Kirk's assassination. And there is no unity with the people who fund these articles, who pay the salaries of these terrorist sympathizers, who argue that Charlie Kirk, a loving husband and father, deserved a shot to the neck because he spoke words with which they disagree. Did you know that the George Soros Open Society Foundation and the Ford Foundation, the groups who funded that disgusting article justifying Charlie's death, do you know they benefit from generous tax treatment? They are literally subsidized by you and me, the American taxpayer. And how do they reward us? By setting fire to the house built by the American family over 250 years. I am desperate for our country to be united in condemnation of the actions and the ideas that killed my friend. I want it so badly that I will tell you a difficult truth. We can only have it with people who acknowledge that political violence is unacceptable, and when we work to dismantle the institutions that promote violence and terrorism in our own country.